Hi, I'm Heather Clements. I'm the creator of the iWIGT, and I'm going to demonstrate to you how you can use it to improve the quality and consistency of teaching in your school and to deliver consistent performance management. You can see the iWIGT logo here, and you can download the iWIGT from the App Store today. If we open the iWIGT, you can see that it will give you a log on screen, but I've logged on for speed here. I've done that in advance so that it doesn't take too long. You're just putting in your email address and your password. And at this point, we're going to create a new observation. In creating the observation, we're actually setting up the database for the analysis that you can do as a whole school later on. So we're going to be choosing a particular widget. So if I click here, you'll see that there are 3 different widgets that we can use. There's the foundation stage, which is for the youngest children. We've got the main widget, which is for annual performance management, detailed lesson observations. It's a very detailed document, but it's also hugely developmental for staff. Particularly good if you've got NQTs and student teachers. And then we've got an abridged version, which we call the learning walk. This can be used for part or whole lesson observations. It contains all the basic features, and that's the one we're going to use for the demonstration today. If I press done, that will go in there, and then I can set up the database. I'm going to choose French, and your teachers will have been entered into the system. So when you click on this, you will get a list of all of your teachers, and I'm going to choose Kevin. So I've set my lesson observation up, and now I'm going to use it. This is the widget itself. The idea of the widget is that it makes extrinsic the intrinsic qualities of teaching and learning. So at this point you can see that there's an evaluative question, and then there are descriptors of what practice would look like if it requires improvement, good or outstanding. The idea of these descriptors is that they're going to be matched to best fit, and they're in 2 parts. So the first part looks at how well learners learn. This is what learners will be doing, how they'll be responding to the teacher, and it follows the flow of a lesson. So this is how well learners learn. What will they be doing at the start of the lesson? What will they be doing as we move through the body of the lesson? And what will they be doing as we go towards the end of a lesson? And then we move on to teaching, and for teachers we've got planning, the start of the lesson, the body of the lesson, we've got management of behaviour, and then what might be happening towards the end of a lesson. It doesn't mean that they have to happen in this order, but it does allow you to understand where those statements are likely to be, so that you can follow the flow of a lesson. I'm just looking at planning here. You'll see that in the teaching session, each of the sections has a number and a letter attached to it. The number and the letter is a link to the teacher's standards. So this shows the match to the teacher's standards. This is particularly important when you're working with NQTs and when you're working with student teachers who need to show the match to the teacher's standards. In order to complete the iWIGT, we can do it in 2 different ways. And your professional judgment will still come into play. So if I'm obviously in a good lesson, I might just make the decision that I'm actually going to throw all of the RI column as being met. You do in any case have to complete all 3 sections up to the highest level. So even if you're in a good lesson, you need to ensure that you've completed the RI in order to meet the standard. But I can also decide to do this by single statement. So I could say this is met. I might say that is also met. However, I might say that they didn't get an opportunity to reflect on it. Where I highlight something in purple, I'm RAG rating it. I'm actually saying this hasn't been met. I'm picking this out as a development point. Sometimes things will not be met, so I might continue to meet the rest of these things. Just because there wasn't an opportunity. So in which case I'll leave it unhighlighted. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a development point I want to pick out, because you're going to limit the number of those. I'm just saying I didn't see that in this lesson. Just for completion. And you'll see that within a few moments I can actually have completed this, obviously informed by everything that you've seen. I'm then going to review and reflect on what I've seen. So I will move through the screen and say, have I picked out An appropriate number of strengths and development points is the weighting right. I think in this one, actually, it feels like I might actually want to highlight a little bit more of particularly good practice, and because I've said that the behaviour is outstanding, I'm going to highlight a couple more in the behaviour section, because actually the behaviour management was really good in this particular lesson. When I'm happy with it, I can go to the summary page, and I can go to this page at any time, and here you'll see the points I picked up as strengths and the development points I identified. Where these are linked to teaching as opposed to learning, you'll see there's a link there for the teacher standards. If I click on that link, that teacher standards will drop into the box there. I've got a note page here, a note section here, and during the lesson at any time I can record any notes I like here. And also at the bottom right hand corner you will actually see that there's the lesson grade. I can override this lesson grade, so if I think actually I only saw half the lesson but it would have been outstanding if I'd been there for the whole time, you can change the lesson grade. You can also see, say actually even though there was much good practice, there was something that happened in this lesson that means that I have to give it an RI and judgment. If that was the case, I'd strongly recommend that you go back and look at your judgments again, because it may well be that when you reflect on it, actually there are some of the things that you've put down that weren't consistent through the lesson and you decide you want to take them out. At that point, I'd say I'm ready to have a discussion with the teacher. And I'd usually start with this page talking about the strengths and the development points, as you would with any lesson observation. But if the teacher says, well, I thought that was particularly good, or actually I did that before you came in, you can go back and you can look at the lesson observation and view it together and see how you came to those judgments. And because this is a done with model, not a done to model, you can do that in a way that is allowing the teacher to contribute to how you've come to those judgments. It's a shared process. When you're both happy and you're both happy with the summary, you can have a performance management discussion. In the top right hand corner there's a performance discussion button. If you click on that, it just takes you to a text page. This is the place where you might record some things that you're suggesting that they do. When you're both happy that this is representative of what you've seen and it's supporting them in developing, then you click on the Done button and you'll come to this menu. That lesson observation that we've just done is at the bottom here, and you can see that. And if I'm happy with it, at that point I'll submit it to the system. It's cautioning me that once I've done that I can't change it, so at that point I'd want to say OK on the submitted observations. So if I click on submitted observation, there's Kevin's French lesson that I've just observed, and I can open that lesson observation by clicking on it. That tells me what it was. I can view the lesson observation. Here's the summary, and there's the link to the performance discussion, and I can go to the observation itself. If I open the observation in this way, I can email it by clicking on email in the top right hand corner, put the teacher's email address in, and within 5 minutes, or even while we're having the conversation, I can email the lesson observation to them and they have it there for their reference. They can also access it from anywhere by logging on under their own logon. If we look at this menu, in my submitted observation, I can link that observation with their performance management. So if I want to click the link, that means that the strengths and development points from that lesson observation will drop into their performance management document. We'll have a look at that in a minute when we go to the website. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to the website. And it will take you to this screen. On this screen, you will see all of your teachers, the number of times they've been observed, the date of their last observation, and you've got the link to their performance management. But the first thing I'm going to look at is the reports section. If I click there, you'll see at the top we've got observation record. This is where your analysis will appear. So the first screen that you'll get is the number of lesson observations that you've done in a particular year and the grades, also shown visually. And you can actually click on a year and break that down by term. When we set up the lesson observation, we set up a number of fields, and those fields are shown here and I can analyse by each of those fields. But you can do that analysis by teacher grade, so you could bring up your NQTs, by subject, by key stage, by year group, and by set. So you might want to say, how well are our top sets doing, for example, if you wanted to think about quality of challenge for your most able pupils. I can also go to reports and go to statement count. And here you can see that I can choose the statements most used as a development, and I can search. And what that's showing me is the weakest areas of teaching currently in our school. That will inform your CPD programme, the development that you need to do. It also shows the links to teacher standards, so you can start to collate information related to that. I can also do areas most used as a strength. Okay, if I go back to home now, I'm going to take you to the performance management screen. And if we go to Natalie, and you'll see here is Natalie's performance management document. This is just a straightforward performance management document. I can see the name, the date we last observed her, who observed her, and the summary. Remember I did that link? If I'd done that link, that summary drops into here. So this is showing the strengths and development points. But if during our performance management I want to refer back to that observation, I can click on the view observation and it opens up. The form is just a straightforward performance management form. Beauty of it obviously is it's online, there's no paper involved. I can discuss and write in objectives, strategies, and the agreed support. What's really different about this, and this system allows us to do, is that it allows us to begin that CPD journey here in that discussion. So if I have a look at Natalie's performance management document, I'll see that 4A comes up a couple of times. So I may well want to search the knowledge bank against 4A. So this is my little search tool. I'm searching the knowledge bank against that teacher's standards. Those things pop up here, and I can choose an article, and I just add that item to Natalie's performance management document, and it will appear there. Improving concentration and memory skills of pupils. It might be that pupils weren't concentrating particularly well. So I'm going to click on that, and that link will take me to the Library of the Teaching Times. So here we are in the Library of the Teaching Times. This is the article library, and here's the article we've chosen. If you subscribe to the whole system, your teachers will all have their own unique logon. They can log into the system, download this article onto their iPad, they can print it out, they can do what they like with it, they can share it with others. It's there for their reference, and that link is always there, so they can always refer back to it. But these are the journals that these articles are taken from, including School Leadership Today, so they can be linked to any aspect of professional practice, and they can search for additional articles using keywords or the teacher standards just by using the search area at the top there. So they have access to a whole range of professional development. The idea of this is to move away from the idea that professional learning begins with a course, but actually saying professional learning should begin with personal research, reading around a subject, looking at good and outstanding practice within the school, and then thinking about actually if there is no point of reference or you need more ideas, then thinking about training outside the school or beyond the school. Right at the bottom we've got recommendations for pay progression. You'll include the name, the current pay point. You might be saying this person has met their performance management targets, and there you're recommending them, and you're going to say what point you're recommending them. However, if they're not met, you can record those reasons here. All of the information in one place. As a member of the senior leadership team, you can access this information and monitor the system to make sure everybody's up to date, everybody's done everything they're supposed to do, and that targets set are appropriate, etc. And then you can complete this final phase if that's your responsibility. But it's open and transparent, and for pay progression and the new forms of performance management, this is actually making it a positive experience, but also making it consistent and fair for every teacher. If you want to find out more about the iWIGT, just Google iWIGT, that's small I, W-I-G-T, and there's lots of information on our website, including how to contact us, or you can ring our team. The numbers and the way to contact them are on the website, and they're really helpful, and we'll get you set up. You can have a free trial for up to 15 days, so you can really experiment with the system within your own school.